Right, if you want to attach two ends of metal together, like you want to make a ring or a ring shank, you'd use this technique called butt soldering. And you're going to determine your length of metal by using one of these gauges. Now, if you know your ring size, you would just line it up at the 0 and, cut the length if you were, a size 12 or a size 9 or whatever. You would cut your length using this. That's if you know your ring size, and we do have ring sizers if you do not. So once you get to this point, you're going to want to make sure that your metal is clean, and you're going to want to make sure that your ends are flush and that they're perfectly right angles. And ideally, this is the same thickness. Okay, so I'm going to make a ring, and what I'm going to do is take my flat pliers and bend it around. I'm going to bend the other end to meet it, and you can see that I'm going to go over this a little bit because I want to create tension so that when I pull it back a little bit, it's going to meet the other end flush. All right, now before I started this video, I made sure that this end was flush. But I'm going to check this in the light. So I'm going to hold this up to the classroom light. And if there's any light peeping through, I'm going to readjust it. Or I might have to open this up and file the end again just to kind of get rid of any little bumps that are keeping it from being flush. There can't be any gaps in between these two pieces because that solder is going to flow right through it. So they have to be as flush and tight as possible. I'm checking it again, and I'm just going to adjust it this way a little bit. For beginners, this might take some time. Again, we want them to be flush. We want those ends to be flush, but sometimes you just kind of have to file and check and file and check and adjust. That's just how it is. All right, I'm going to check it. Oh, there we go. So no light is peeking through when I put it up to the light. All right, now I'm going to put this seam side down. And I'm going to adjust this camera so that you can see where that seam is. Okay. And what I'm going to do is flux this join right here. And I'm going to choose some medium solder. So I want to, let's say if I wanted to add like a bezel on top of here, or if I wanted to add something onto this ring, later, if I wanted to solder it, I would want to work my way down as far as different temperatures of solder. All right, because if I used easy right now, and then I added like a bezel cup right here or something, I run the risk of remelting this and that join coming apart. All right, so I'm going to use medium. And I'm going to make this little pallion go across it. And I'm actually going to use a second pallion. The wider the ring shank, the more little bits of pallions you want. And I'm actually going to grab, where are my tweezers? There's my hand. All right. All right, so these pallions are I'm going to grab my solder pick. All right, now those pallions should be crossing that crease. All right. So I am going to start my torch, and I want to get my metal hot. You can see those scallions dancing a little bit. You might want to move them back into place. Put this out a little bit. I'm just going to go all the way around this ring shape. Oh, you can see it started to go, and while it's liquid, I can even move it around if I wanted to. So make sure those are fully flowed. Happens quick. The thicker the metal, the longer the metal. It will take a little bit longer to do. I'm just going to kind of let that sit for a little bit, and then I'm going to quench it. You're going to hear it over here. Oh yeah. And then I'm going to see if that took, and it did. That's a good join right there. So now what I can do is, after it's pickled, I can reshape it on this ring mandrel. I can use one of my rawhide mallets or a rubber mallet just to tap it into place. Okay. Now, if there are any little chunky bits of solder on the inside, you're going to use your files to file those away. So I'm going to throw this into the pickle to get off all this fire scale.